All right, good afternoon. Today I'm actually shooting a video on the afternoon for the first time. It's been a minute since I've done this. But anyway, I wanted you guys to take a look at the new edition that I have here. It is the well-acclaimed Pass Labs INT 250. 250 watts per channel into 8, 500 into 4. I don't believe they disclose what it puts out into 2 ohms. So, very big, very heavy, and beautiful to look at as well. Of course, as you know, this is actually, some say, is actually the best integrated that Pass Labs has right now. Even besting the INT 60, which is pure Class A. I do not know anything about the INT 60. I have never heard it. Can't speak about that. But I just literally threw this on the top of the stand. It has been playing for maybe 1 hour. And so, you know, it's not new. It's relatively, it's new in terms of age, but it's not brand new. So, anyhow, right now I have pure cabling from Cardus connected, Clear Beyond, speaker cables, XLRs. I only have a Merrill Audio power cord on it right now. I figure I want you guys to have an understanding of what this thing can do. I've been very vocal about, actually I take that back, I don't think I've been vocal enough about the advantages of having an integrated, okay? If you guys remember, I have had the Diablo 300 integrated. I have had the Pass Labs now. I have had the Luxman 590 MK2, forever gone now. I have had the, I believe it's called the 509 Luxman, which is the Class AB design. I have had the Momentum Agostino integrated. I have also had the Hagel. I can't remember if it was called the Hagel 360, I believe. But I've had that as well. So I've had quite a few integrateds, although not as many as I'm sure some of you guys have gone through. I know some of you guys are out there just looking for the best integrated. It does, you know, put it into perspective. It definitely puts it into perspective in terms of how much bang for the buck, right? How much do you get by using an integrated as opposed to going separate? I always say this, there's definitely a law of diminishing returns in audio and anything in life in general. Cars, it doesn't matter the industry you're talking about. There's always a huge law of diminishing return. But that said, the great thing about the integrated is, number one, you don't really need XLRs to go from your preamp to your amp, right? So that's a huge advantage. You save money there in that regard. Two, you don't need 2 power cords, one for the preamp, one for the amp. That's going to save you money on an additional power cord that you're not going to need anymore. And 3, you don't have to be wondering about the synergy, matching, mismatching situation that you oftentimes have when you use different brands of amps and preamps. When you're trying to find that magic, you know, it's a very difficult game to do. I've been doing this for a while now, and I can tell you that it's never easy to find what works with what. And you're always scratching your head thinking, is there a better combination out there that I'm not putting together? The integrated allows you to forget about all of that. It allows you to just not have to concentrate on that. You only concentrate on the cabling around it and the source, of course. The bad thing about having an integrated is, you know, it has limitations. You can't really fine-tune things as much. For instance, you can't use a certain XLR to go from your preamp to your amp. You know, it doesn't allow you to have that flexibility. There's only so much power that some of these integrateds can have. So if you have crazy expensive, hard to drive speakers, they have their limitation because everything is enclosed in one chassis as opposed to 2 separate chassis where you're going to have more room for extra components, extra parts, bigger transformer. So, you know, that is where I think the integrated do have a disadvantage. But I mean, I have to really be honest. I mean, you know, I have been hearing a lot of different amplifiers, as you guys know by now, and I gotta keep it real with you guys. The integrateds of today are really bringing a hell of a lot on the table. I mean, I am baffled many times by what I hear. Oftentimes, when I do a comparison between between integrateds and separates, because the integrated, although yes, there's a level of clarity that, or extra resolution, I would say, or perhaps extra drive or punch or power or muscle that perhaps the integrated doesn't have and the separates do. You do give up some of that, but oftentimes, do you really even notice it enough? And that's kind of the question. I notice it because I have the ability to have both at the same time. But if I didn't, I don't know. I really don't know if I could, hear that much of a difference. There is a difference. I'm not saying there isn't. The question is how much of a difference? And that's the question to ask. It really depends. To my understanding, the INT PassLabs 250 integrated has a X250.8 amplifier with I believe it's the XP12 or 20 preamplifier section in it, something like that. And so the comparison would be against those components, right? Separate. It wouldn't be against the top of the line XS preamplifier and the top, XS 150 or 200.8s. That's unfair. Okay. It would have to be against their siblings that are basically the design that they use to put it all into one chassis. That's what you would have to do. And then you really put it all into perspective. You really understand how much you get out of the two chassis and by going with one chassis. Anyway, cabling right now is going to be, I'm going to play a video. I'm going to play some music. I want to play a song, first of all, that maybe some of you guys have heard or have not heard. Actually, a very nice fellow who follows my channel now brought it to my attention. So I thought it was a very good song from a Cuban group that a lot of you guys know. And as you know, I am in the South Florida area. So this type of music here it's like, it's like jazz in Argentina. I mean, it's crazy. It's really the soul of South Florida, this type of music that you're going to hear. And a lot of people, I think a lot of you guys are actually going to like it enough to probably start asking me what's the name of the song. And I'm going to call it out right now. Let me look it up. The name of the song that I'm going to play is by Buena Vista Social Club. And it's called, let me look at it. Black Chicken 37. That's the name of the song, Black Chicken 37. I am going to play the MQA version of it using QO Buzz. There is a live version of this as well. I don't really like the live version too much. This is not the live version right now, just so you know. I found this on Tidal, MQA. I think you guys are going to enjoy the presentation a lot. This is just for you guys to understand what the INT 250 is doing with my current setup, being Wilson Audio DAWs. I have Cardas, as I mentioned, Clear Beyond speaker cables, Cardas Clear Beyond XLRs, and I am going to use the insane DCS Vivaldi DAC with the matching upsampler. Okay, I'm streaming directly from the DCS application that they have. So I hope you guys like it. Okay, power cord again is going to just be a Merrill Audio power cord. I am sure if I were to grab my Odin one, it's going to get even better. But listen to it. That's all I want you all to do. Listen to the presentation, listen to the music, and then, give me your thoughts below. Maybe my next video will be about a shootout between the separates of Luxman against this PassLabs INT. And then your guys are able to tell me your opinion. All right, here we go. I'm going to go right straight through. All right, there you have it. That was a cool song, huh? I want you all to keep something in mind, of course. I thought it sounded pretty nice. Very musical, very deep. I found a lot of depth in the presentation. I felt like the speakers had a lot of current, like the amplifier took command of the woofers. I felt like it never sounded anemic. That's the best way to describe it. Very, very impressed with the integrated. Now, let's keep something in mind, please. The ancillaries that are around that integrated are a lot. I mean, the speaker cables themselves cost just as much as the integrated. All right, so let's keep that into perspective, okay? The speaker cables are a lot of money. The the XLRs are, and let's not even go and talk about the DAC. But what I am trying to do here is to show you possibilities of how far you can take an integrated that only retails for $12,500 and how good it can sound when everything else around it is top notch. Okay, so everything makes a difference. Everything. Okay, now I will say I'm still not a believer of certain tweaks, certain things out there that maybe because I haven't had them or I haven't lived with them. I do believe there's a lot of snake oil out there still being sold to all of us. There are a few things that I'm not going to go into detail right now because maybe one day I want to try them and I actually find out they are good. But, you know, it is interesting, very interesting to see how something this affordable, if we want to call it affordable, can really sound and how satisfying it can be, given, you know, how much money it is. You know, is it making me fall out of my chair as other things have? No. But it isn't something that I have to put in the box and sell either. I mean, it sounds very, very, very nice. On my next video, I'm going to try to see if I can just do a shootout of the Luxman separates right there against the INT 250 just to see how different they are. At this level, guys, it's not about one thing totally stumping on another thing. I think it is more about, you know, what is your flavor? What do you like? How different do they sound? Okay, that's really what this is about at this level. It isn't. I think most stuff out there at this price point or level is great, solid equipment. It really is. Some of you always, I've actually gotten a few messages where some of you are asking me to, hey, can you please tell us, you know, if this is sucks or if this is no good or this is bad and how come none of the stuff that you present, you know, ever sucks. Okay, so, and I know a lot of you want to hear why that is. Reason number one is I handpick my components oftentimes. I don't go out there, look at a list, and close my eyes and select something. I don't do that. Okay, before I bring something over, I have done my homework extensively. Either I have been chasing it, which is the case of the Griffin, been chasing it for a while, finally came up on something that made sense in terms of the price, and I've made it here to my room. Okay, so that's how I select a lot of my components, or maybe I heard them at a show. So I don't buy blindfolded oftentimes. I buy blindfolded in terms of maybe I never heard it, but I know of people who I trust, who have given me enough feedback for me to say, go ahead and go for it. You're going to like it. For instance, right now I am contemplating bringing another pair of speakers. I can't say what they will be, but I am contemplating that. My Dynaudios are going to be leaving hopefully this week. So that leaves me with the only pair, the Sasha DAWs. So I'm itching to have a second pair of speakers. And no, I haven't owned them either, but I have heard them briefly. Okay. Anyhow, so I don't know if that answered the question, but that's really the reason why. Okay. I like to bring things that I know I'm gonna like, but they're just different. And at the end of the day, you know, I decide what I want to continue with and what I don't want to continue with. And it has nothing to do with it not being great or bad, or it's just horrible or doesn't sound good. No, it has nothing to do with that. You know, if I were to put a system together and leave it all here in place, guys, there would be no more channel. Some of you ask me, why do you continue to, you know, are you ever going to stop and just listen to music and just stop moving equipment in and out? And the answer is no, if I want to continue having things for you all to view and listen to and hear my input on. The answer is no. Now, if I did not want to continue showing you guys, yes, I know exactly the components that I probably get and what I would have here for quite some time. But the reality is that I'm not keeping any of this. I am going to move on, I'm sure, at some point to something else. You know, and I don't know right now, I don't have any intentions of doing that, but yeah, that's basically the reason why, you know, I do what I do every day. All right, guys, subscribe. I hope you liked the video, and stay tuned for more. Have a great week.